hey, congratulations to all your many projects that you actually have. And thank you for logging in to talk about some of your work in your career. And I uh, I looked up your filmography. You are quite a busy person, that's for sure.
Well, it's the old saying, if you're not busy, you're bored. So at least on my side, and I think busy keeps me sane. So I'm scared to stop. I don't know.
Well, I guess the list is like over what, 80 credits. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. I mean, a lot of people don't even reach that high of a milestone.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's I got into this industry at 30. I'm 49 now, so I didn't start at the younger years. And I had businesses, and I was burnt out on it, and I wanted to take a chance and chase passion. And I did a commercial 5 years before I decided to take a leap into this, and I just fell in love with it. And it just took me 5 more years to get the confidence, and I took the leap when I turned 30, and I never looked back. And I think it's the drive of wanting to play catch up in an industry that usually starts a little younger, and also the drive of wanting to be a part of things, and be a collaborator and creator.
Now, I've read according to my notes, is that you joined the U.S. Navy first before all this. I mean, that's
It's true. Yeah, I had a Rice scholarship to Rice University for track, and I just knew in my heart I wasn't ready for college. I felt like I would have really messed it up. And my brother was in the military, and he got to travel the world and serve, and it helped him become a young man at that time. And I felt that's what I needed as well, and I wanted to be able to get out of a small town too and just see the world. And so I love water. I love airplanes and jets. And I thought, what better? I could play with boats and jets. And let's go join the military and the Navy.
Did you think that actually helped you mold you into that mindset of acting? Because, for most people, we can't see that connection from military to acting.
I tell you what it did, because I was a dyslexic ADD kid growing up, and dyslexia still, somewhat controls the narrative of me. Um, but the Navy allowed me to appreciate and knowledge the things and stand up for them, and realize that it's not a negative. It's not a handicap in my life. It's something I can overcome. And for that, I'll always be grateful and thankful. And I've had incredible chiefs and COs and officers that believed in me, and I'm a doer. I've always been a doer my whole life, and that's how I kind of get through life. And so, if something needed to get done, I raised my hand and I did it, and to my best ability. And luckily, 9 times out of 10, it was right, and that helped give me confidence.
Hmm.
And when the government gives you keys to the largest, I mean, we had the largest platform of F-14s. When West Coast shut down, East Coast took it over, and I was in the Oceana Naval Air Force Base. And so, I mean, we had 168 F-14s on the ground that 4 days out of the week I was responsible for. And so when they give you the keys to the billion-dollar kingdom, you don't want to mess it up.
So the military helps you with the dyslexia and ADD. How do you manage to navigate that to overcome challenges with your acting career at this point?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons I stayed away from it for so long is because I thought the memorization side of it would have been impossible for me. And I still struggle today reading out loud. The way I am, I don't see four-letter words and smaller a lot of times. And so when I'm reading something, if I don't see it, the conversation or the sentence doesn't make sense anymore to me. And so I stop, and then I get nervous. And what it's allowed me to do is the confidence that it gave me to just control the narrative, meaning that if I walk into a room and I have to cold read and I'm saying, "Hey guys, give me 15 minutes. I got to read over this. I'm dyslexic, so I just got to get it in my head." And once I got past, and some other people helped me with this, once I got past the idea of memorization, and more so, it was about listening and having a conversation.
Hmm.
And listening is a huge factor in our industry as an actor and stuff. Being able to listen well.
Oh,
Bless you.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, and so once I got past that, I could control the narrative. And once I got past the idea of people would look down upon me or think that I wasn't, my abilities weren't there, then it became okay. A light bulb went off and said, you know what? In lack of better words, I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to put everything I can into it, and I'm going to see where I land.
Wow, most excellent. And looking back, I'm curious, what was that first commercial that you did?
It was in Tokyo, Japan. It was a Dell's computer commercial, and I was spiking a ball into a green screen, so it looked like it was a 3D of Dell, and it was their new computer. And all I was doing is just hammering a ball over and over. And I had a translator, and we were rolling 35s back then, and so those are big, massive casings. And every time I had a minute, I'd walk over with my translator and just start asking questions about the technology of it. And I was just so interested in all the technology. And I just remember leaving sad, but so happy and going, gosh, I wonder if I could ever do that. I wonder if I could ever do that. And 5 years later, I took a chance.
So despite that commercial, 5 years later, you took a chance into the acting career. So what changed during that 5 years that basically sparked you saying, this is what I'm going to do?
You know, I finished up active duty. Um, to long story short is I finished up active duty and I finished out my reserves, and I woke up 30 years old, and I had a full-blown construction company with partners. I had three retail businesses, and what I did in 5 years, a lot of people would say, wow, that's really great. But all I was doing was chasing money to try to make myself happy. And I wasn't chasing happiness. And I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, and I wanted her to know me as a father that came home and was, happy and not, just distraught and worried about other people's and everything else going on. And I wanted to change. I don't know if it was an early midlife crisis or what, but I wanted to change. And I look back on what made me the happiest. I was just having a bad day. And I look back on what made me the happiest. And it was that commercial that led to a few other opportunities that, and then it just made me say, can I do this? And I said, I didn't know anything about business, but look where we're at. And that's when I made the choice. And so 2 weeks later, I walked in and told my partners, "You're buying me out. I'm going to take this position, and I'm going to go chase a dream." And I've never looked back. And it's starting out. I told everybody, I said, I'm broker than I've ever been, but I'm happier than I've ever been. And the reality of it is I got in front of every workshop, every acting coach, casting directors. I was in Texas. Louisiana was really popular at the time. And so I had a few opportunities. I did a Ford commercial that got me my SAG card.
Hmm.
Uh, and it just kept growing from there. And then I had an agent that believed in me, Linda McAllister, that said, "Hey, I know you don't have an agency, but there's this big opportunity in New Orleans that I think you should go to." And she saw me at a workshop,
Oh,
she goes, "I think you should go to this." And I said, "Yeah, I would love to." And so she got me in the room. And on the way down there, I said, I just don't know how to thank you enough, but can I ask you, will you rent me?" And she's been my agent ever since we started from day one. And every time LA, New York, wherever, I always tell them, I said, guys, I hope you admire this, but I will never leave her. She has this central area. She runs Texas, New Mexico, and everything else. But I'm never going to leave her because she believed in me. when a lot of people didn't. And she's got me to this point to where you guys want to represent me. And it's been a great, respectful relationship and across the board.
So what was your first feature role? What was it in television? Was it in film? Was it a short film? I mean, independent route?
All right. So first thing I ever did, remember when Craigslist list was a big thing?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, don't answer anything on Craigslist. And I was like, well, let's just see. I don't know. I mean, let's just see. And there was an audition for a lead role in a horror movie that a family of three wrote, directed, produced. And I said, you know what? Why not? And I thought I had the right script or the right scenes. And I'm brand spanking new, really. And I show up and they say, "Oh, hey, we're gonna hand you some new sides and stuff," and then I automatically just got nervous because all those fears in my head just came out. And I said, "Oh, okay," and I bought some time. And luckily, there was like three or four people there. And I'm supposed to be reading. I'm a young guy in my 20s, and a group of us are going camping, and it's about a killer death worm that escapes from a science lab and starts knocking us off one by one. And it cost like $3,500 because we bought the camera. At the end of the day, we bought the camera. We learned how to edit. I became part of the production on top of it. And I walk into the room, and it's supposed to be a young lady that I'm reading across, my love interest in this thing. And there sits an older, balding, bearded man that is reading her part. And I go, oh gosh, how am I going to pull this off? Oh, and I didn't know what to do because I was never in that position before. And then we just sat there and started talking and had a conversation, and that led into a relationship where we did two movies back to back for under $5,000. Two movies they've sold and they're still circulating. And this was back in, gosh, 2000 and I think eight. But we just got together and created something, and they're not the greatest. I mean, I'd call them B movies for sure, but they sold. I mean, they found a niche. Buyers wanted it, and we got lucky. So
Guerrilla filmmaking. Gotta love that.
I
So
miss it sometimes. I tell you, I do a short film every once in a while. Our director produces a short film just because the value of everybody coming together and collaborating it's a fun time. I love being on big sets. I'm shooting Hysteria right now for NBC Universal Peacock, and it's a large, setup. And we just came off of Love and Death. It's a large setup in the crew and the cast, lovely, all of them. But the personability of a small little set where everybody is just kind of joining in, helping one another for the craft, just for the creative side of it, not everything else, not the return of value or anything, just for the creative side of it. I love that, man. I think that's what keeps me young and humbled.
you're still young and humbled, so it's great. Which project would you suppose that actually that you think that signified that that you made it in the industry?
I don't know if I've let myself get there yet, to be honest. I think I'm scared of the whole phrase "you made it" in the industry. I think the biggest one to date, still in my career, I've been very blessed and lucky to work with incredible directors, like Oliver Stone and Peter Berg and Michael Bay and David Boyd and Gary Brown and all those guys that do large film and television projects. And I've realized that becoming part of the crew and cast is the most important thing, not being an outsider that's a headache, because it takes a team to build and create and produce. And if one is the weak link, then it starts getting weak down the chain. And so, to answer your question, Friday Night Lights is always going to be atop my list, and I think it's because of the way it all came down. I read for season two. I worked with Jeffrey Reiner, which is one of the executives on it, and he's also a director on it. And one of my first network shows was a show called NBC Surface.
Hmm.
And I remember I flew out to North Carolina probably 3 times to read and just reread with everybody and reread. And Jeffrey was there, and we did 1 season of that. And I booked that recurring role on it. We did 1 season of it, and then he moved to Friday Night Lights. And the casting director, Beth Sepko, said, "Hey, Jeffrey wants to see you for this role." And originally, I went in for a completely different role than it happened. Sent out postcards, so excited. We shot the series, sent out postcards, so excited, just thinking, "Oh, this is that I made it moment." And they cut the episode and they decided not to go with that character's arc. And I never knew. And so now I feel stupid, egg in my face, and because I mean, I probably sent out 100 postcards, so casting directors and everything else in LA and New York and all that. And then I get a phone call probably 3 weeks after that saying, "Hey, there's a new character that they're introducing, Coach Wade Aikman, and he wants you to come in."
Hmm.
And Jeffrey's just that shows 35% ad-libbed, and he's just a guy that he knows what he wants, but he challenges as well. And so we got in a room, we talked a little bit, and he's all right, let's do the scene. And at the end of it, he goes, "How about I drag you outside and whip your ass?" And I go, "Or I can buy you a beer." And he goes, "All right, you got the role." And I went, "What?" and I was supposed to be 3 to 5. And Michael Waxman, our line producer and first AD, kept walking around going, "Oh, good things are happening." And I go, "What does that mean? What are you talking about?" And it was like the 5th episode. One night we were doing a long football, we're doing a game, and we're outdoors. We got the rain gear on, we got the big rain towers up, and in between takes, we're sitting there, and I'm looking around, and all the coaches that are supposed to be there are there. And I'm supposed to be taking over for a coach that had a heart attack temporarily because I was a private quarterback coach. And I'm just confused why I'm on this field. And so I asked Mike, I said, "Mike, let me ask you a question." I said, "I'm very, very thankful that I'm here." I said, "But what am I doing here?" And Kyle Chandler walks over and he goes, "Yeah, what is he doing here?" And I go, "Shut up, man. I got this. I can do this. I can handle myself." And he goes, "What do you think you're doing here?" I go, "I don't know. That's what I'm asking." I go, "Here's a defensive coach, offensive coach. Here's this. He goes, "Well, what does it feel like?" And I go, "It feels like I'm becoming the assistant head coach." And he goes, "Well, maybe you are." And he walks off. And the next day I got the word that, yeah, I became the assistant head coach. And that was very special to me. That was.
That is terrific. Wow, you are very fortunate. Meeting the right people at the right time really does help a person's career. That's for sure.
I will take luck any day of the week.
Let me start talking about some of your recent projects. You mentioned you already your most recent thing that you completed was the HBO series Love and Death, but um, I understand you had a personal connection to this true story, or somewhat some kind of connection.
So I get out of the military in '98, and I built a house in Saxe, Texas, and it's the next town next to Wiley, Texas, and it was very small. It's all farmland out there, so it's very small in between. And Wiley had their square, and so we'd go down there and have breakfast. So, and you hear the old timers talking, and every once in a while they still throw up that, "Oh, you remember when this happened, that crazy story, and that murder and everything," and never thought anything about it. Just threw it out of my head. And 98, 99, 2000, I think 2003 before I moved to LA, or 2005 before I moved to LA. No, it's the wrong time. 2008 before I moved to LA. But in that time, again, I just never thought anything about it and never did any research on it. Come around to 2022, I get a phone call saying, "Hey, I'm doing this movie on Love and Death. It's a true story about this lady Candy and everything." And I started looking it up and doing all the research, and I go, "What? Are you kidding me? I live next to all this, and those were that murder that everybody kept talking about in town every once in a while and everything." And so it's just the universe works in a beautiful way, the full circle of it. Here I am playing a character Jerry that is part of this whole storyline. So it was pretty interesting, unique for me. My kids, it was fun for them to hear and everything.
Well, it's always great to have things that actually come back around somehow in one form or another.
Well, here's the other crazy thing is that Candy, so we live in Georgia now.
Hmm.
Candy, we moved out of LA at 19. I mean, we're still bi-coastal, but we decided to bring the company here and just relax a little bit and just easy peace of mind kind of a thing. Candy lives, she may still live. I don't know, but while we're shooting that, she lived um 15 miles from us here. And so that's a whole nother full circle scenario. It's like here she is. We're doing a story about her in Wiley, Texas, and now she's living right down the road from us now. So it's crazy.
Wow. Now you said you're currently filming Hysteria right now. I know you can't give out too many things away because you know some stuff while you're in the middle of the process of filming. But my details is it has something to do with that crazy, you know, devil worshipping scare back in the 80s over
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons or heavy metal and everything. But this one is like the heavy metal side. And I have to say I can't picture you on this heavy metal.
Listen, I've been denying the age thing for a while until I see pictures of myself. I'm like, who is that old guy in that picture? And so I'm playing Rex, a father of my son is a quarterback coach or quarterback. Uh, he plays football at a high school, and he gets murdered. And so I want justice and revenge. And but through the process of tracking that down, there's this weird kind of oh gosh, not supernatural, but somewhat supernatural thing happening with the town. And it is based off of the satanic panic that
Yeah.
went into the late 80s, but it's also very much and I hate to say a Stephen King's kind of feel, but
Mm.
it is. I mean, it's a very interesting play on the cult structure and the scare, but also this unknown thing happening within the town as it all unwinds. So I think I'm safe to say all that.
Well, it sounds very interesting. I mean,
It's been very interesting.
it's it's like it comes full circle. You started with a horror, and here we are. We're still talking about this kind of projects.
Listen, Julie Bowen is awesome for Modern Family. Claire from Modern. She's amazing. She's the lead in the thing, and you cannot not have fun on set with her. So
Most excellent. And one more recent thing that I do want to talk to you about is because you know, like your first project, you know, you produce, you edit it. I guess you also direct, and you have an upcoming film that you directed, Festival of Trees. Could you talk about that? I mean, you know,
yeah, would
people
love to.
always love Christmas romance, right?
Listen, my wife and mom, this is their favorite thing I've ever done so far. So me and my wife, we're owner operators of Argentum Entertainment, which we established in 2014. And I love the production side of it, and I love the creative side of it, and I think directing is the best of both worlds. I really do. From the acting to the creatives to the production, directing is where it's just you get the best of everything. And so we started and started collaborating with different writers, and Festival of Trees was our next one up. Last year we produced three projects, and then produced and directed internally Festival. It has Kate Miner from Shameless, it has JoJo from Where the Crawdads Sing, and the cast goes on and on and on. I mean, it's just a great list, but it's a fun take on a thing. Festival of Trees a real thing. Every year in different states, organizations get together and designers get together and they create these amazing trees that they auction off for charity, based off of charity. And here in Georgia, uh, the charity is for sex trafficking and fighting against. And
Hmm.
so we were like, hey, we would love to partner with you guys for the tree side of it. And also, we internally as a production company, we always partner with charity for each project that we do, just because it's the way we love to give back and everything. And Children's Hospital Healthcare of Atlanta is the charity that we teamed up with, which is a beautiful circle in its own right, because Children's Healthcare of Atlanta used to own the rights to Festival of Trees, and then in 2022 or 2021, another group bought it and started it back up again. And so it gave us the opportunity to collaborate, work with incredible people, bring in a larger value, and create something that we're really, really happy about. We're in final post. In fact, I get off of here and I look over the new sound mix, part two, and then I fly back out to LA next week to lock the sound, and then we get it into coloring and tack on the titles and sell the thing.
Wow. And this is how you keep along with the creative side of things, because it sounds like you love this side of the business too.
I do. Acting and directing are my two favorite things of it all. I think I produce because I'm a control freak and I just need to know every aspect of what's going on, you know. But build those relationships. I think the beauty of this thing, I've been in this industry for 19 years now, built incredible relationships, and the value in that and their trust in me to be able to pick up the phone and go, hey, I know you're just coming off of a Marvels project, but listen, if you want to, we're going to play around on this. We're going to have some fun, and here's what we're looking for. And for them to go, yeah, well, I'll be in on that. And, so you build this incredible crew base that believe in you, and this family that believes in you. It makes the process even more fun. And so those 12-hour days don't feel like as long as they really are. And you walk off, you're happy and smiling. And who doesn't love a Christmas movie? It's like
Well, this is terrific, because I have to admire you that you took that leap into a career to make you happy, and 19 years later, it still makes you happy. That is
I think every day, here's the key. If every time somebody says, what advice would you give young people? I think every day, value what you're doing. Don't demise it, diminish it. Don't make it, less important than it is, no matter what it is, and just appreciate it. And it took me a long time to understand that. And later, as the older I get, it's true what they say: the older you get, the wiser you become if you allow yourself. And I feel like I'm finally getting into that stage where I am accepting the comfort of who I am and just allowing the ride to happen and pushing myself even further to accept that I can do this. And seeing other people believe in me gives me the strength also to do better. And I had an incredible conversation with our investors last night, and they believe in our company. They believe in Aaron. So we have a slate of films that we're talking with people about and that we are funded in, and we're just going to take our time with it, because we want to do our whole company is based off no gratuitous objectable content. We just want to get back to good storytelling, and we like lifestyle stories, true stories, and just very warm, engaging stories. And that to me is exciting, because it's we're the only people stopping us now, and that's exciting. I think in the perspective of life.
That is truly exciting. Well, Drew, I've taken a lot of your time already, and I could easily take more hours, and then I would end up writing your biography at this point. But
I need somebody to do it. So
so hey, congratulations with your past and current projects and future projects. Let's go for another 80 more credits
I
any
hope so. God willing, we're going to make it happen. And yeah, we got some exciting road in the next couple of years. And as long as everybody stays healthy and the world stays sane, we can make it happen.
most excellent. So hopefully we get to do this again, Drew. Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
so.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye
Take
now.
care.